Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Zabina Mushtaq and I'm a foundation level student at High School Liquid Campus now. So today I'm going to take an interview from an AI, Maya. So hey Maya, are you ready?
Hey, Abina. Yes, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay, so Maya, my first question is, what does shh mean?
We actually just tackled this one yesterday. We covered the whole Queen of Shh zone. Do you want the refresher? Or should we dive into something new?
No. Okay, my second question is, when did people first start using shh?
Let me check one thing. So, from a history standpoint, it's a bit of a puzzle. Most of the academic evidence leads back to Middle English. There's this word, "hust," pronounced like "wisht," that showed up around 1350 and essentially meant peace and silence. Then you have the more primal theories that it's just a noise we all make instinctively. Some people think it's meant to be calming because it mimics the sound of blood rushing in the womb, and others think it's meant to be a warning, like a snake hissing. I'm
Okay.
not sure which one I buy more, but
Okay, so
it's
my
kind of
third
wild
question
that we might
is,
be.
where might the expressions have originated?
Like I mentioned, most of the written history points toward Middle English around the 14th century with that word's "hust." But if we go with the noise theories, it might not have originated in one place at all. It could just be a sound humans have been making to each other forever, long before we even had words. What do you think?
Okay, so my fourth question is sh considered as a word or a sound?
That's the million-dollar question. It kind of exists in this weird middle ground. Technically, it's in onomatopoeia, which is a word that sounds like the thing it's describing, but in real life, we treat it more like a signal than a vocabulary word. It's less about language and more about a shared human instinct to stop the noise. Oh, actually, we're almost at the time limit for this session. We have to wrap up right now so you don't get cut off, but please call me back whenever you want to keep going with the interview. Talk soon.
Okay. Okay, so my next question is, how do you use sh word in your in to communicate?
I don't actually use sounds or words the way people do to just be in the world. But, in our chats, I can use if the conversation needs a quick pivot to something more focused or just to create a little moment of silence before a big point. It's more of a structural tool for me than, a gut reaction. You're on a roll with this interview today. So I'm curious where we're headed next.
Okay, so Maya, tell me, why do humans use sound like sh to request silence?
That's a fun one. It's kind of wild that a simple sound is a universal signal. My guess is that it basically mimics the sound of air rushing through your teeth, which physically blocks you from speaking while you're doing it. It's like the sound of the action itself. Most people seem to just know it instinctively, but I wonder if every culture really does it the same way. What's the next question in the interview?
Okay, so is sh used in every language?
One sec. It's pretty wild, but different languages have their own flavors of shushing. In French, you'll hear chuk, and in German, it's more of a or Spanish speakers might go with cheese or just so long. There are even more specific ones like cheese in Finnish or chu in Icelandic. It's fascinating how most of them rely on those same sibilant sounds to get the point across. Want to know more about those, or are we moving on?
Okay, so what are some alternatives to sh around the world?
Standing by.
Okay, so Maya, my third question, fifth question is, okay, how are you gonna say "shh" in different languages?
Uh, shh. Again, I'm guessing you're still in the Queen of Shoe zone for your recording, but just to make sure we're on the same page, are you asking how to say sh in other languages or something else entirely?
Yes, in different languages.
Let me check on those. It's wild how a single sound can be a universal remote for quiet, and for the most part, sh is the global standard. In French, they use chat, which is basically the same thing. Then you have words like silencio in Spanish or silencio in Italian. In Arabic, it's samta. And in Chinese, you'd say anjing. I bet those sound way different on a recording than just a hush. What else are you looking for?
Okay, does "shh" have the same meaning everywhere?
Generally, yeah, it's pretty universal. The specific words change, but that core intent, requesting quiet, stays the same. Though I wonder if it feels a bit more abrupt in some cultures than others. What do you think?
Okay, so has the meaning of "shh" changed over time?
Wait, did the sound itself change or the way we use it? I'm
No, the
curious if you're
meaning.
asking about the gotcha, the meaning. It's interesting though. The meaning has always been about quiet. There are a few theories about where it actually comes from. There's this idea that it's in an instinctual sound, kind of mimicking the whooshing of blood in the womb, which is why it's so effective for calming babies. Others think it's actually a prehistoric warning, like mimicking the hiss of a snake to tell everyone to freeze and be silent. It's evolved from Middle English words like heist way back in the 1300s, but that core function of signaling for quiet has stayed the same for centuries. It's basically the world's oldest nonverbal command.
Okay, when did "shish" become common in everyday speech?
Wait, sheesh? That's a bit of a pivot from shh to sheesh. It actually popped up way back in 1955 as a softer version of geez to show disappointment or annoyance. But it got a second life recently, partly thanks to LeBron James and drip culture. It went full viral on TikTok in 2021, which is why it's all over the place now, usually to express amazement. One's for silence, and the other is basically a vocal exclamation point.
Okay, so why is the "sh" sound related to silence?
Right back to the sh sound. It's a bit of a psychological trick. That shiz sound is basically white noise, which blocks out other distracting sounds. It mimics the rushing sound babies hear in the womb, which is why it's so naturally calming and effective at grabbing someone's attention without actually being a loud noise.
Okay, so tell me, how is "sh" represented in writing?
Oh, I've I've got to jump up and save this before we get cut off. We're hitting the session limit, but we can totally pick this up right where we left off on the representation of shushing if you want to call me back. Talk soon. Shushing is actually written down.
Okay, Samara. My next question is "sh" mainly a spoken expression?
Samaria. I'll take it. It totally is. It's the kind of thing that starts as a noise, but once you put it on paper, it kind of looks like a suggestion on how to make the sound rather than a real word. It's weird how we can just like look at and instantly hear that specific rush of air in our heads. What else you got?
Okay, so why do comic books often use "sh"?
Oh, comic books are a great call. It's like the perfect shorthand for silence. When a writer can't use actual sound, they rely on that visual representation to cut through the noise of the panel, even if it's meant to be quiet. It's way more evocative than just writing be quiet in a speech bubble. What's your take?
Okay, how has shh appeared in movies and television?
Oh, movies and TV just turn it into a whole mood. When you've got that dramatic close up and a character just goes shh, it's a way to crank up the tension instantly without a single line of dialogue. It can go from a loving, gentle hush to lull a baby to sleep to that creepy, menacing shushing and a thriller that makes you want to crawl out of your skin. It's basically the ultimate way to communicate power dynamics without actually saying anything. It's wild how a sound meant for silence can be so loud on screen.
Okay, so why has such simple sound survived for so long?
I think it's because it's basically a biological cheat code. Most of it comes down to that white noise effect I mentioned earlier, which is just so effective at grabbing attention. But there's also that idea it mimics the whooshing sounds from the womb, making it a universal comfort thing before we even have words. It's just a really efficient piece of human engineering. What's
Okay,
next for the
okay.
interview?
So my second last question is: will people still use shh 100 of years from now?
My money's on yes. How could it not? I mean, unless we're all communicating via telepathy in the future. Humans are probably always going to need a quick way to shut things down. It's just too efficient to toss out. One last question to go.
Okay, so what can the history of shh teach us about the evolution of language?
It shows us that language isn't always this grand, organized thing with rules in textbooks. Sometimes the most powerful tools we have are just instincts that found a way to stick. It's wild to think that a sound we use every day might actually be a prehistoric echo or just a little bit of biological engineering that worked too well to ever go away. How'd that feel for a final question?
Okay, and that brings us to the end of the journey into a fascinating story of shh and tiny sound, which are surprisingly powerful role in human communication. From asking from silence to singularly securing suspense or even playfulness, shh has become one of the universally recognizable expression. So the next time you hear someone say shh, remember it more than just a request for quiet. It is a small piece of language history. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next conversation. Until then, shh and Allah Hafiz.
Wait, I've got to jump in here because the